With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
Imagine a league where players are left unprotected, constantly at risk of injury, where players can get away with eye pokes and body checks without any sense of accountability. Now stop imagining, because that's exactly what's happening in the WNBA right now. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert just came out from a recent press conference held during the WNBA Finals, speaking about the refereeing issue, and her shocking dismissal of poor officiating has fans and players alike wondering, is this the breaking point for the WNBA?
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list.
Let's be real, the WNBA's refereeing situation is a mess. Players are getting roughed up, and the refs, they're just watching it happen. And guess what? When Engelbert was asked about it, she basically shrugged it off. In this video, we'll break down the refereeing problem, expose Cathy Engelbert's dismissal of the issue, other instances of management incompetence, and share some solutions we can learn from other leagues to demand for better player safety, fairer officiating, and more accountable players. This isn't just about bad calls anymore. We're talking player safety here. And fan trust? It's going down the drain faster than the 62 records Caitlin Clark broke during her rookie season. If the WNBA doesn't wake up and smell the controversy, they're in for a rude awakening. Stick around, because we're about to expose just how bad this referee problem really is. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go!
Yeah, I think just being competitive is who I am. It's what I've done my whole career. I think at times there's ways I can probably channel it a little bit better, but that's just basketball at the end of the day. No, that's never gonna change. I'm never gonna lose that. I feel like I'm getting hammered. I don't know. I appreciate Christy getting a tech too. I don't know.
The referee problem isn't just bad, it's downright dangerous. You think you've seen unfair treatment before? Caitlin Clark's experience will make your jaw drop. How can one player be the target of 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league? It's not just about missed calls anymore. We're talking about player safety and the integrity of the game itself. Let's break it down. The 2024 WNBA season was a roller coaster of inconsistent officiating. Remember the whole slapping the ring padding is disrespectful to the game fiasco? Here's Caitlin getting an instant technical foul from the ref for doing it. No questions asked.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical. After
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
But how come when Diana Taurasi does it, nothing happens?
Put Michaela Onyenwere in that group.
Kennedy Carter nearly picks off the pass, and Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket. And one coming up for DT.
One game, you'd see players getting called for barely brushing against each other. The next, it's like the refs left their whistles at home. Major infractions went unpunished while ticky-tack fouls were called left and right. It's enough to give players, coaches, and fans whiplash. But here's where it gets real. Caitlin Clark, the league's new superstar, is bearing the brunt of this officiating chaos. We're not talking about a few rough plays here and there. We're talking about a systematic failure to protect one of the WNBA's most valuable assets. Out of 144 players, Clark was the recipient of almost 1 in 5 of the league's most dangerous fouls, flagrant fouls. And guess what? She also faced a barrage of uncalled ones, dangerous plays, and physical abuse that would make an NFL linebacker wince. Remember when Diamond DeShields tackled her at full speed?
Trust Arena, the Fever really stretched out this one.
Or how about Alyssa Thomas's body check, which wasn't even called a flagrant?
another look here at the heavy contact.
But the worst has got to be the eye poke. The referees completely ignored it ever happened, played on, and pretended nothing was there. Even the TV announcers were screaming foul.
When you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
Think about it. In any other professional sport, would we allow a player to be targeted like this? Imagine Steph Curry or Tom Brady taking hit after hit with no consequences for the offenders. It's unthinkable. Yet in the WNBA, it's becoming the norm. This isn't just unfair, it's potentially career-threatening. The grueling schedule is tough enough. Add in the constant physical punishment, and you've got a recipe for disaster. We're talking about a young athlete's future here, not to mention the future of the league itself. This inconsistency is doing more than just frustrating players. It's changing the outcome of games. Crucial moments are being decided not by skill or strategy, but by whether a ref happened to be looking in the right direction at the right time. Is this really what we want for professional basketball?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
The ripple effects of this problem are massive. Player morale is taking a hit. How can you give your all on the court when you don't know if you'll be protected from dirty plays? Fans are getting fed up too. They tune in to watch basketball, not to see their favorite players used as punching bags. Let's be clear, no one's asking for special treatment here. What players and fans want is simple, fair, consistent officiating that prioritizes player safety and lets the game be decided by skill, not by who can get away with the most fouls. This whole mess points to a bigger problem within the WNBA's leadership. When the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, was asked about the quality of refereeing, her response was shockingly dismissive. "They're human," she said. "Let's roll the footage."
Obviously, not every, they're humans, looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
Really? That's the best you've got? It's like saying, "Oops, sorry your star player got injured because we couldn't be bothered to enforce the rules properly. Our bad." This kind of response shows a fundamental disconnect between the league's management and the realities on the court. It's not just about working hard. It's about accountability, player safety, and the integrity of the sport. But Kathy Engelbert, she's apparently more focused on rivalries. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
But I know it's a passionate issue. Every fan group, I love when I go into market and every fan group I meet with, they usually wait and ask it as the last question of the night, but they do ask about officiating, which I appreciate the passion for that.
As the league fumbles its response, a new force is rising. What if the very people the WNBA relies on, its fans and players, become the catalyst for its biggest shakeup yet? The WNBA's dismissal of officiating concerns has ignited a firestorm of criticism, uniting fans and players in an unprecedented call for change. Social media platforms are ablaze with hashtags like Kathy Engelbert resign and fire the referees, as supporters across team lines voice their frustration with the league's handling of the situation. This isn't just a few disgruntled fans venting online. We're talking about a full-scale revolt that's threatening the very foundation of the WNBA. Viewership might be up 170% to 1.2 million per game in 2024. But those impressive numbers could vanish faster than Caitlin Clark's three-point shot if the league doesn't address these concerns. Let's talk about the players for a second. These women aren't just sitting back and taking it. The Players Association has stepped up, demanding action from the league to create a safer work environment. They're not asking for special treatment. They're fighting for their right to do their job without fear of injury or unfair treatment.
The referees is under fire yet again. A lot of questionable calls. Now, we know that has been the story of the WNBA for the whole 2024 season, going all the way back to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark making her run throughout this league. The referees just cannot get it right.
And the fans? They're not just complaining, they're organizing. Fan forums that used to be filled with game analysis and player stats are now battlegrounds for heated discussions about league management and player safety. But here's where it gets really interesting. This outcry isn't just about the refs anymore. It's exposing a deeper issue within the WNBA's leadership. Fans are questioning everything from marketing strategies to player treatment. Remember how the league handled Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year announcement? Fans were livid, calling it dismissive and lacking the celebration such an achievement deserves.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
This isn't just about one player or one season. It's about the future of women's basketball. Fans are worried that if these issues aren't addressed, the WNBA could lose its rising stars to overseas leagues or other sports entirely. Can you imagine a WNBA without players like Caitlin Clark or Kelsey Mitchell? That's the nightmare scenario fans are fighting to prevent. Some are even starting to encourage the stars to head overseas to prevent their favorite players from getting injured. The long-term consequences of ignoring these concerns could be devastating for the WNBA. We're talking about eroded trust, declining viewership, and a potential exodus of top talent. The league's growth, which has been so promising in recent years, could come to a screeching halt. But here's the silver lining. This uprising could be exactly what the WNBA needs. It's a wake-up call. A chance for the league to listen to its most important stakeholders and make meaningful changes. The fans and players aren't just complaining, they're invested in making the league better.
But these referees in the WNBA clearly do not know what they're doing. They don't know how to call.
Think about it. When was the last time you saw fans this passionate about improving their sport? This isn't just blind loyalty. It's a genuine desire to see women's basketball reach its full potential and protect its players. And that kind of dedication? It's priceless. The ball is now in the WNBA's court. Will they listen to this chorus of voices demanding change, or will they continue to dismiss these concerns and risk losing the very people who've helped the league grow? While the WNBA fumbles for answers, other leagues have already cracked the code. What if I told you the solution to fair officiating and player safety was hiding in plain sight? Just a few channels over on your sports package. The NBA, NHL, and NFL have all faced their own refereeing nightmares, but instead of shrugging it off with a weak, "they're human" excuse, these leagues took action. They implemented changes that not only improved the quality of officiating, but also prioritized player safety. And guess what? It worked. Let's start with the NBA. They introduced a replay center that reviews every call in real time.
The NBA Replay Center will provide on-site referees with superior tools and more control over the video review process.
This isn't just about getting calls right. It's about consistency and accountability. Imagine if the WNBA had this during that eye poke incident with Caitlin Clark. No more pretending it didn't happen. It would be caught and addressed immediately. The NHL took it a step further. They brought in player safety specialists and a player safety department to review dangerous plays, even after the game.
I'm Brendan Shanahan of the National Hockey League's Department of Player Safety. Throughout the season, we will provide video examples of both legal hockey plays and illegal plays that rise to the level of supplemental discipline.
This means dirty tactics don't slip through the cracks. If the WNBA adopted this, those body checks and tackles we've seen would face consequences, regardless of whether the refs caught them in the moment. And let's not forget the NFL. They've implemented strict concussion protocols and independent neurologists on the sidelines.
The NFL and NFL Players Association have agreed to update the league's concussion protocol following a joint investigation into the league's procedures.
This isn't just about penalizing dangerous play, it's about actively protecting players' long-term health. Imagine if the WNBA had this level of commitment to player safety. Caitlin Clark and others wouldn't have to worry about their careers being cut short by preventable injuries. But it's not just about copying these leagues. The WNBA needs to adapt these solutions to fit their unique game. Here's what that could look like. First, implement a centralized replay center. This would ensure consistent calls across all games and take some pressure off the on-court refs. No more "they didn't see it" excuses. Second, introduce a player safety committee. This group would review dangerous plays post-game and have the power to issue fines or suspensions. Suddenly, those accidental hard fouls don't seem so tempting. Third, bring in independent medical professionals to assess injuries during games. This takes the decision out of the hands of coaches or players who might be tempted to push through an injury. Fourth, invest in referee training and development. This isn't just about knowing the rules, it's about understanding player movement, anticipating plays, and positioning for the best view of the action. Lastly, increase transparency. Publish referee reports after each game, explaining controversial calls. The NBA does a last 2-minute report to create accountability on good calls and bad calls in crucial moments of the game. This transparency would go a long way in rebuilding trust with fans and players.
Let me speak for every one of those fans when I say I will put my time, my effort, my enjoyment into whatever makes me happy. I enjoy watching her play, and that makes me happy.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds great, but the WNBA doesn't have NBA-level resources. Fair point. But here's the thing. They just signed a massive $2.2 billion media rights deal. That's $200 million per year. If they're serious about growing the league and protecting their stars like Caitlin Clark, investing in better officiating is a no-brainer. These changes wouldn't just improve the quality of the game. They'd reignite fan excitement. Imagine watching a WNBA game where you're focused on the incredible athleticism, not wondering if the next play will end in an injury or a missed call. That's the kind of basketball that keeps viewers coming back for more.
That's what's called being a consumer, You get to buy what you want to purchase.
And for the players, it would be a game changer. They could focus on pushing their limits and showcasing their skills, not worrying about cheap shots or inconsistent calls. Let's recap the mess we're in. The WNBA's got a referee problem that's putting players at risk, and the league's response? A shrug and a "they're human." Meanwhile, stars like Caitlin Clark are taking hits that'd make an NFL player wince. Fans and players are fed up, demanding change, and they've got the right idea. Other leagues have figured this out. A replay center, player safety specialists, better training. It's not rocket science. With that new $2.2 billion deal, the WNBA's got no excuse. They need to step up, protect their players, and restore some trust. The ball's in the WNBA's court now. Will they keep playing defense, or will they finally take this seriously? It's time for action, not excuses. The future of women's basketball is on the line. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.